back, and I have the man who's made it all happen, the man of the moment, Lalit Modi. Lalit, you were making a speech at this party and you got rather emotional. This thing has been one of the biggest things that you've sort of ever achieved?
Yes, I think it's one of the biggest things that I've ever achieved, and I have dreamt about it, lived it, and it's become a reality, and that's what happened.
You know, every time that, you know, there's been a controversy, you've been sort of quick to, you know, take it all, handle it all. How has that been? You know, it's been as much about cricket as about controversy.
You know, with anything that you do, there are always detractors, and controversy comes with that. And one has to carry on and move on. If one lets controversy bother you or take you back, then you'll never achieve anything you want in life. So one has to take it in the spirit of things and carry on. And that's what I feel. And in life, if you don't carry on and you let detractors aim and point at you and throw stones at you, then you'll always never achieve anything. And so that's the way I work, and that's the way I am.
The cheerleaders, the slapgate, you know, just everything. Every day there was, you know, one woke up and there was a new controversy, and yet you managed to sort of, you know, nip it all in the bud as soon as it was happening. How was that?
Because you've got to address the issues. If you have an issue on hand, it's better to what you call address it than to bury it under the carpet. If it's buried under the carpet, it's going to come to bite you again and again and again.
Quite unlike the BCCI though. You know, people have said that.
We're all changing. You know, we're learning with the times, and we're all changing. I think the BCCI is becoming more reactive. The media is becoming more reactive, and it picks up things and stories, and rightfully so. And you know, we've got to address the issue. We can't bury them. It's the public wants to know, and it's better that you tell them the truth and you tell them what the facts are.
You've talked about how after 3 years this is going to be twice a year. Do you think it's a really feasible idea, considering a lot of people, including Shane Warne earlier today, spoke about how, you know, IPL should not come at the cost of world cricket?
We're not going to come at the cost of world cricket, and that's not our objective. The objective is that we need to have another tournament. And we would like to have another tournament, and we would preferably like to have...
What is the reason to have it twice a year?
It keeps the momentum going. I think if you have it twice a year, it keeps the momentum going. We're not envisaging the second season to be as long as the first season. The second season can be a very, very short season. It can be a knockout or a round-robin basis. We haven't even thought of the format yet, but it would be important to think that through and look at the pros and cons. It's an idea right now, like this was an idea. We're going to probably research it to death and take it forward, and if there is a possibility to have another season, to be a reminder season and to get the fans back and to connect with us, I see no harm in it. And maybe a few weeks and get the people back in there and go forward with it.
59 matches over 44 days. A lot of people have said it's quite a long tournament, 7 home games, 7 away. Any plans maybe from next year, you know, to sort of make it a more compact, shorter tournament?
I don't think we're going to play around with that. I think it's been very, very successful. If on the other hand it was too short, people would have said it was too short. I think we have cracked that, and I think people have enjoyed it. The public has enjoyed it. People have been glued to the TVs. People have been coming to the stadiums, have enjoyed it tremendously. It's a lot of work for us. I mean, if we could cut it short, we would. But I think we're going to keep it to the same format, at least for the time being, and continue with the 44 days and 59 matches.
You know, as I was mentioning earlier, you got very emotional. You said it's the biggest thing you've ever achieved. If you were to sum it up, really, what has been the best part of this IPL? Everyone's talking about how it's changed world cricket. You know, you've got so many players from so many nations coming together, sharing the dressing room. For you, as someone that is the chairman and the commissioner, whose, you know, brainchild this whole thing is, how is it? You know, what do you take away from it?
I think there are many things to take away from it. The first and foremost, as you said, is the players. We have found that the players are bonded. I mean, the young players that have come out, they could have never dreamt about sharing a dressing room, and the learnings that they've had. I mean, look at the way the boys have learned. Brett Lee has taught so many in the Punjab team, and in every team there is a story to be told. Shane Warne has tremendously changed the outlook of the future of these boys. So have, you know, all the other teams around the places, all across India. And this is very, very important for our fans. The emotional connect with the teams is absolutely amazing. People have just taken this and said, this is my team. And you know, I was at a game the other day in Chennai, and when the Chennai team lost, there was a pin drop silence in the stadium at the end of the game. And you know, you can see that the people are connecting. Otherwise, if it was just another match, they would be, you know, cheers, or there would be boos, or there would be something else. But the crowd was so well behaved, and it's just amazing that to see how the people have been able to connect in such a short period of time. For advertisers and our sponsors, it's been great because they've got something that they can actually say, what we paid for is worth more than what we paid for. And we got value for money. For our broadcasters, incredible. It's making money on the end of the day. For our players, it's the emotional connect and the bonds and the friendships that they're going to have, which are going to be lifelong, and it's going to play out in some other fashion. And when we play international matches, you'll see the camaraderie there because they've been able to share stories, they've been able to live through stories, and they've been able to live through.
So it could put an end to sledging, maybe?
It will probably reduce that to quite an extent, but I think the competitiveness should not ever go out, and we've seen that in the shortest possible period, in a matter of 2 weeks or 1 week, when the teams have come together. They've been so competitive. One could never ever have dreamt that these teams have only been made up a few weeks before.
At the start of the tournament, you said that probably the emotional connect to a team and that whole regional sort of following will only come maybe 2 or 3 years into the tournament. Do you feel like in a space of say 40 days, it's gone really fast?
That's the factor that made it successful.
What has been your biggest surprise, even as someone who's planning?
This is the biggest surprise for us. I mean, we never thought the people of India or the world would actually start connecting and with the team or actually cheering for the team. I think they were really looking for good entertainment and good cricket, but that's not the case. They've got good entertainment. They've got great cricket. On the other hand, they've started to connect with the team and be emotional about the team. I know people who are fasting before a team, people who are praying, and people going to temples, and it's amazing what the stories that you hear, and it's just that people actually have been very fanatic about it.
If how would you like to change it if you are going to sort of going into it? I know it's too early, but if there are certain things that you'd like to see changed, what would those be?
Well, there are lots of things that we would like to change in this. On the organizational part, I think on the cricketing side we have achieved what we have to achieve, and we'll just make it better going forward. But on the organizational side, we've learned so much, and we also learned as we went along. For us also it was a great learning experience, and we've seen what we could do better, and we're going to improve that. Infrastructure needs a lot of improvement. Services to the fans is a great area for us. Ticketing is going to be a great concern for us, and we're going to make that a more easily accessible, better availability, better information to everybody. We are going to go on sale from November 1st this year. We're going to prepone everything. Merchandising, licensing is a big area for us to work on and take that forward in the years to come. So it's a lot of work for us.
There's been a lot of talk about how T20 is and IPL is really a young man's game, and maybe to a certain extent that has been proven true in the sense that you have, the icon players like say Rahul Dravid or VVS Lakshman, Sachin Tendulkar, their teams haven't made it to the semi-final. Probably the only aberration is someone like Shane Warne. Do you sort of subscribe to that view that maybe it's not so much about the icon players, it's really about the youth?
It's not true. If you look at it, Virendra Sehwag as an icon has performed tremendously well. Dhoni
He's still quite young in that sense.
Yeah, but still at the end of the day, 2020 is an unpredictable format. It's an unpredictable game, and yes, the youngsters have performed extremely well, but these youngsters probably were very good and we didn't know about them, and now they're on the world stage and everybody knows about them. That's a big find for us. We have such a talent pool today available in India, where we said, what are we going to do after this icon players go away? Where is India going to fall? Today we know we have a bench strength probably better than any other country in the world, and we realized that through this format. And these boys have been able to build the confidence by playing with the best against the best, sharing with the best against the best, and that's going to give us long-term gains in the future.
A lot of the owners have spoken about how they'd like this 5 million cap to be removed. You mentioned first that it's really a 3-year contract, so it will be a very expensive process to buy a player out because you have to buy his contract out. Can you settle this debate once and for all, because now we hear that cap is being lifted?
I don't know whether what's going to happen in that regard. There are debates pro and against.
Is there a lot of pressure from the owners that
No, there's pressure both ways. One is some owners to remove it and some owners to keep it. I think we are going to dwell on it. I think this is going to be, we have learned a lot from this tournament. We're going to be examining this very, very closely. I think there's going to be a lot of exchanges between us and the teams on this. A lot of brainstorming going to happen, and we will come out with a definite strategy once the governing council meets, and debates on all of this and takes it forward on that basis. I think it's not an easy decision. Luckily, we do have a cap for 3 years, so that is already predetermined. We have time to examine this. Yes, it'll be expensive proposition, like I said earlier, if somebody wants to buy the cap out and try and take that forward. But we are going to examine this very, very closely. We have been reacting rather than examining. I think it's time to sit back after this tournament and see the pros and cons, sit with the owners individually, collectively, and debate this out.
There was a lot of, you said earlier that it's been a learning process for you. There have been a lot of controversies, a lot of issues that you've had to just learn along the way. You decided to adopt the ICC Code of Conduct, and sometimes that created a bit of its, own issues. What has been your single biggest lesson that you take away from IPL?
The single biggest lesson for me in IPL is if you put your heart and mind to it, you can do it at the end of the day. Yes, there will be controversies, like I said, and you've got to live with them. And sometimes controversies are good for the game. It keeps the momentum going, and sometimes they're not at the end of the day. But with everything that we do, there will be a controversy, whether it's good or bad. I'm sure there'll be more controversies next year and the year after and the year after. And it happens in every sport, in every league around the world. There's always an incident that can spark a controversy. So I don't like to dwell on that too much. I think we have to just go forward with the proper goals and aims and achieve them.
And I'm sure you will, Lalit. Thank you so much for joining me. And of course, this cricket and the controversies will keep happening. Thank you so much.